Hey everybody, welcome back to the best US Mint news channel on YouTube. I'm Triple S, son of a silver stacker or just plain old stacker. Today's date is the very first day of May 2025, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Common Sense Act. That's right, there's new legislation out there to get rid of the penny, and well folks, I think it's going to go gonzo. But before any of that, if you're new here, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to reach a bazillion subs. It's a really big number. I looked it up, it's ginormous. Also, we're always live, never edited, and always unscripted. I never know what I'm not going to say. Now let's bounce over here to moneymetals.com. Look at those spot prices. Looks like everything is down but Dr. Copper. So gold's down 62 even Steven to 38.40. Silver down 52 cents to 32.31. That's parity. Platinum down 7.75 to 9.79.40. Palladium down 40 cents to 9.75. Oh, whoops. Down 85 cents to 9.75.05. And Dr. Copper is up 5 cents to 466. Pick up sticks. Now, down over here, you're looking at an in-stock American Silver Eagle whose premium is $6.89 for a quantity 1 through 39. You'll pay $39.20. And really, you know, we had this premium at $6.39 for months and months, it seems like, and the price was still $39.20. The only thing that's changed is a little bit of a higher premium, even though we're still, we're seeing these high silver spot prices. Now, the sell to them, the buyback price is $34.02, and that is higher than the silver spot price. Now, next stop is the Google machine, and we look up Common Sense Act. And these folks here, I believe, are the first to break the news 23 hours ago. And what's interesting, if you look at the Congresswoman Lisa McClain, well, that was 22 hours ago. And then I think there was Mr. Garcia over here 22 hours ago. So definitely the Spectrum News were the winner chicken dinner on breaking this news. And I will leave a link in the description for this particular article. This is from Spectrum News, and they are talking to Representative Lisa McClain out of the 9th District of Michigan. So let's keep on keeping on. I could go ahead and show you these articles, but really I think the meat and potatoes is where it's at, is here. Then this is the act, okay? It doesn't even have a House resolution number. That's how fresh this bad boy is. And it says here, to direct the Secretary of the Treasury to stop minting the penny. You know, a lot of people have a problem with the word penny. They say, no, it's Lincoln cent, but it's penny too, right? They said, no, only the United Kingdom has a penny. And they go round and round, right? Just like that rat song. All right, let me start over. To direct the Secretary of the Treasury to stop minting the penny, to require cash transactions to be rounded up or down to the nearest 5 cents, and for other purposes. And now right away, folks, I was like, wait a minute, you're going to round up or down to the nearest 5 cents? And I'm thinking, if you were a retailer, wouldn't you just make sure all your retail prices all end in an 8 or a 9, so you have to round up? I would think, right? Well, I mean, is that shady? Maybe. I don't know. But that's just, is it price gouging? That's really, we're in new territory, folks. I think the whole banking system has changed. In fact, this is maybe a little bit off the subject, but it's about the banking system. So I buy baseball cards on Topps.com, okay? And they have changed the way you have to pay. They've gotten rid of PayPal, and they're using another pay program, and I'm like, what's going on with that? Yeah, so it's have you had anything change in your banking? And it seems banking changed overnight, and nobody told anybody. So anyway, let's keep on keeping on. This is the bill. To direct the Secretary of the Treasury to stop minting the penny, to require cash transactions to be rounded up or down to the nearest 5 cents, and for other purposes. What are those other purposes, you ask? Well, actually, you'll be pretty stoked. All right, it says here, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, Section 1, short title, this act may be cited as the Common Sense Act. Now, here we go. Section 2, it's the elimination and production of the 1 cent coin. There we go. There's your cent, and there's your cent, not the penny. Now, the elimination, no, not later. Oops, let's get rid of that. Hello, bye-bye. 6:52 a.m. Not later than 1 year after the date of enactment of this act, except as provided in subsection B, notwithstanding any other provision of law, including Section 5112A, Section 6 of Title 31, United States Code. The Secretary of the Treasury shall cease production of 1 cent coins. And now there's an exception. Now, but let's go here first. I got to show you. How long does it typically take? How long does it take for federal law to be enacted? And it says the time it takes for a federal bill to become a law can vary greatly, but it typically involves several stages, including introduction, committee hearings, floor debate, and presidential action. A bill's journey through this process can range from a few months to several years, and the enactment is not guaranteed. There it is, folks. That's what we have to look at. It could take months or it could take years. And really, I don't think that this one is going to take several years at all. I think it's going to take several months. I think by November of this year, we'll have had this legislation signed by the president, and it has bipartisan support, no doubt about it. Now, here's the exception. I think you're all going to be pretty stoked about this. The exception is the Secretary of the Treasury shall continue to produce 1-cent coins as appropriate solely to meet the needs of numismatic collectors of the 1-cent coin. Woohoo! Right? I mean, come on. That's what we wanted. Now, the question is, what will the composition of that Lincoln cent be? And will it be a NIFC? Well, absolutely, right? It will definitely be a NIFC. And what will that do to the Lincoln cent from, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, and so on and so forth, right? What is it going to do to all those people holding those rolls of, Lincoln cents? Are they going to sell them for their copper value? Finally, right? Because, does the mint say anything? I think this law needs to actually say, hey, now that the penny is no longer part of our circulating coinage, or maybe it's still used as legal tender, can we or can we not melt them down for their copper value? And I think that's something that this may miss. I haven't seen anything like that in this particular bill, but that could be hammered out in those committees, right? And that's why they talk about them going forward. So if you have any ideas, you might want to say them in the comments, because maybe, just maybe, one of those representatives might see this video. So that'd be kind of cool. Now it says, sale any 1-cent coin produced under the subsection shall be sold in accordance with section 5132A of Title 31 United States Code and any other provision. This is a mouthful of gobbledygook, right? Man, just come out and say it. Net receipts. The net receipts from the sale of any 1-cent coin produced under the subsection shall equal or exceed the total cost of production, including variable costs, and the appropriate share of fixed cost production as determined by the Secretary of the Treasury. All right, it says here, no effect on legal tender. All coins and currencies of the United States, regardless of when coin printed or issued, and including 1-cent coins, shall continue to be legal. Okay, that's probably right there. You can't do anything with it right there. Spells it out in black and white right there. Public and private, public charges, taxes, duties, and dues in accordance with the law. Dang it. Well, there's that. Cash transaction rounding. Here we go. How do you feel about rounding, folks? Are you big on this? Are you like, do you feel the same way as me? Is that those retailers are going to be basically making sure that everything ends so that they can round it up, right? Just, hey, look, a couple pennies at over 1 million transactions, that adds up a little bit. All right, cash transactions rounding. In general, and all that rounding should be donated to charity, I would think. But that's just me. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, any person selling goods or services in a cash transactions, entering into any other transaction that results in a payment or transfer of cash between the parties to the transaction, or paying cash wages to an employee as compensation shall round the payment in the following manner. It's for all cash, right? That's incredible. And what if it's a paycheck, right? That's, yeah. In any case, which the total transaction amount, including any taxes, ends with 1 cent, 2 cent, 6 cents, or 7 cents as the final digit, the amount of cents in the sum shall be rounded down to the nearest amount divisible by 5 for any person seeking to make payment with legal tender. Okay, so if it's 11 cents, it'll be 10 cents, ma'am. If it's 12 cents, it'll be 10 cents, ma'am. If it's 16 cents, it'll be 15 cents, dude. All right, if it's 17 cents, it'll be 15 cents, my man. Okay, so there you go. And here's the rounding up action. In any case in which the total transaction amount, including any taxes, ends with 3 cents, 4 cents, 8 cents, or 9 cents, the one closest to the 5, right, or closest to the 10 spot, as the final digit, the amount of cents in the sum shall be rounded up to the nearest amount divisible by 5 for any person seeking to make a payment with legal tender. Hey. All right, well, there it is. Transactions in which the total transaction amount, including any taxes, total 1 cent or 2 cent, which I think we just did this. I mean, that's kind of redundant. Yep. All right. Any transaction for which a payment is made, demand, negotiable instrument, electronic fund transfer, gift card, check, money order, credit card, or any like instrument or method. Wow, that's interesting. All right, this section shall take effect 1 year after the date of enactment of this act. And I got to say, folks, how long does it take to enact one of these acts into a law. Quite some time. It really does. Now let's go over here to Representative Robert Garcia and Lisa McClain of the 9th District. We're going to talk about how they feel about it and why they made this act, well, why they want to turn it into a law, right? So this is home press releases for Robert Garcia. Congressman Robert Garcia and Congresswoman Lisa McClain introduced Bipartisan Common Sense Act to eliminate the penny. Absolutely fantastic. What a great cause. Do you support this, folks? I think I'm okay with this. Now it says this is from April 30. That was just yesterday, 2025, out of Washington, D.C. Today, Congresswoman person Robert Garcia, California 42nd District, and Congresswoman Lisa McClain, Michigan 9th District, introduced the Common Sense Act to end the minting of the Lincoln cent and require cash transactions to be rounded up or down to the nearest 5 cents. Full text of the bill can be found here, but I will leave a link to the PDF also in the description. Now it says here, it doesn't make sense to continue producing the penny, which costs 3 times more than it's worth to create and distribute, said Congressman Garcia, as the cost of living continues to rise and with more folks tapping their phones or cards for payment, we shouldn't be pouring millions of taxpayer dollars into a coin that is rarely used. By halting production, we would actually cut waste and boost efficiency in a common sense way. How do you suppose that's possible? To cut the waste and boost efficiency in a common sense way. That's just words, right? What's interesting, though, he's right about people are tapping their phones, tap to pay. All right, or using their credit cards for payment, right? There's a chip in there. You don't have to insert the card, just hover over and make the payment, right? So people are switching over to digital. They've been doing that for years and years, but there are people that don't have banks. And that's why I think they don't get rid of circulating coins altogether. Plus, on top of that, I think that the war in Ukraine also has made governments realize that you need cash because sometimes power goes out and you cannot access that cash. So I don't think cash is going anywhere anytime soon. Now it says this bill would take effect 1 year after its enactment and follows the successful elimination of 1 cent coins in several other countries, including Australia and Canada. Additionally, a final decision on whether U.S. Mint will cease production of the penny is currently pending. There you go. What? Yeah, for this year, right? So they've told them to stop striking pennies on February 9th, I think it was, on his Truth Social post. And we're still waiting for that to happen. We don't know when they're going to stop, but I have a feeling they're going to stop here in 2025. Now, what's really cool is if they do that, we are definitely going to be getting those 2026 semi-quincentennial pennies, and that's going to be pretty awesome. All right, let's keep on keeping on here. Let's see, I got here non-cash transaction, such as credit card, debit card, mobile phone payments, and checks would not be affected. The cost of, no rounding up or down there. The cost of producing it, and what does that mean? Would you want to do your transactions in cash if you can save money by cutting out pennies? And like I said, it only makes sense to do that if you're doing millions of dollars in transactions. You could save a good bit of money. Didn't you ever see that movie Office Space where they shaved money off the trend, like a 0.0002 cents off of every transaction? Yeah. Whoops. That was a great movie. Where's my red stapler? By eliminating the penny, this bill aims to reduce the unnecessary costs, save taxpayer money, and streamline the U.S. currency system, eliminating waste and making it more efficient for both consumers and businesses. It says here, Congressman Garcia is dedicated to eliminating waste, improvement in government efficiency, and a lot of that going on right now, and saving taxpayer dollars. I think that's great. Fantastic. All right, let's keep on keeping on. And what I thought was really interesting was this one from Lisa McClain. It says here, pennies, I'm just going to highlight this, and I thought it was funny. Pennies are a waste of taxpayer dollars. It doesn't make sense to spend millions each year in minting coins that so few people actually use. President Trump's common sense idea should become law. We are taking decisive step forward to fiscal responsibility and updating our currency for the 21st century. It doesn't make sense to continue producing the penny, which costs 3 times more than it's worth to create and distribute, Garcia said, as the cost of living increases. Now, we read that, but look at this. I got to say, look, U.S. Mint gets no federal funding at all. Zero. Zilch. Bupkis. Nada. The United States Mint operates as a self-funded public enterprise and does not receive funding from the federal government through appropriations. It generates revenue through the sales of circulating coins. That's called seigniorage. Numismatic products, that's the stuff we buy, and bullion coins. That's right. That's the ones that the bullion, those third-party sellers, that's what they sell, right? The revenue is used to fund the mint's operations, and any excess profits or revenues is transferred to the United States Treasury General Fund. Yeah, there you go. So, I don't know. It's interesting that sometimes our representatives make statements that, well, they don't make really. I mean, hey, these are the people making our laws. You would think they would know how it all works out. But anyway, that's just the way it goes, I guess. Now let's go to those plus ones. I got a really good one for you today. This is about talk. The heart does not mean everything the tongue utters, yet on the tips of the tongue the fate of the world rests. Yowza. Think about that. I guess words are important, right? What are words for? Well, that just depends what you're up to, I would imagine. Hopefully it's up to good. Now, speaking of that, let's go here to 99.9 KOIN Coin News Radio. I got a really special one for you today. This is Puscifer, The Humbling River. And I just want you to know that, the song it's a good song. I hope you dig it. But I just want to remind you that we're not alone. And when we all cry out in one voice, we're going to be able to cross the river together. That's all I got to say. Now, with that said, I want to thank y'all for coming. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you're hearing, sub the channel. It's free. Stacker out.